Manchester is a city where the echoes of industrial iron meet the high-frequency beats of modern music and football. It is the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution and the site where the atom was first split, a digital and physical forge that reshaped human civilization. Welcome to Binary BC, your portal to the high-definition past. Subscribe to Binary BC now to witness the complete neural reconstruction of Manchester, from a Roman outpost to a global metropolis. Our data stream begins in 79 AD. The Roman governor Julius Agricola is pushing his legions into the cold, damp wilderness of northern England. To control the strategic routes between Chester and York, the Romans choose a sandstone bluff overlooking the confluence of the Medlock and Irwell rivers. They name it Mamucium, a Latin adaptation of a local Celtic term. This fort is a frontier outpost, housing 500 auxiliary soldiers from across the empire, men from Spain, Germany, and North Africa living far from the Mediterranean sun. Our AI reconstruction shows the transition from earthen ramparts to solid stone walls. Outside the fort, a civilian settlement known as a Vikus emerges, filled with traders and families. For 3 centuries, Mamucium is a vital node in the Roman network, but when the empire's central system collapses in 410 AD, the fort is abandoned. The stone buildings are scavenged, the roads crack, and Manchester fades into the shadows of the Dark Ages. For centuries, the records are silent. Mamucium becomes Mamecester in Old English, eventually evolving into Manchester. When the Doomsday Book is compiled in 1086, the settlement is barely a footnote. However, the gears of trade begin to turn again in 1222 when the town receives permission to hold a market. Trade brings capital, and the town expands around the market cross. By the 1300s, the parish church, today's Manchester Cathedral, is rebuilt in a soaring Gothic style. Yet even by 1400, the population is a mere 1,500 people surrounded by marshland. The secret to Manchester's future lies in its humidity. The damp climate is perfect for working wool, and the town becomes a regional hub for cloth making. Subscribe to Binary BC as we track the rise of this textile empire. The 1700s mark a total system upgrade. Cotton, imported from India, becomes the fashion of Europe. It is lighter and more versatile than wool, but Britain cannot grow it. The raw fiber must be imported, and here, Manchester's history becomes inextricably linked to the transatlantic slave trade. The cotton flowing into the city's early workshops comes from plantations in the American South and the Caribbean, harvested by enslaved Africans. This is the triangular trade, and Manchester sits at its profitable center. As demand spikes, the era of human-scale production ends and the era of the machine begins. In the late 1700s, a wave of inventions, the spinning jenny, the water frame, and the spinning mule, replaces the cottage industry. These machines are too massive for homes. They require dedicated power and massive structures to house them. The factory is born. By 1800, Manchester is transforming into a city the world has never seen, an industrial metropolis fueled by steam and cotton. It is now known as Cottonopolis, the engine room of the British Empire. The 19th century brings extraordinary wealth but staggering human costs. By 1801, the population hits 70,000. Steam engines fill the atmosphere with thick black smoke. Through our AI lens, we see the reality of life in the slums, families crammed into single rooms with no sanitation or clean water. Children as young as 5 crawl under high-speed machinery to scavenge loose cotton, their lungs filling with dust. In the 1840s, the average life expectancy in Manchester drops to just 25 years. Yet the migration continues. Irish immigrants, fleeing the potato famine, flood the city in search of wages. This is a city of brutal irony, the world's most advanced technology powered by some of the world's most exploited labor. The tension reaches a breaking point on August 16, 1819. At St. Peter's Field, 60,000 people gather peacefully to demand parliamentary representation. The local authorities panic and send in the cavalry. What follows is a massacre known as Peterloo. 15 people are killed, and hundreds are wounded by saber-wielding soldiers. It is a dark stain on the city's history, but it plants the seeds of political reform that will eventually give the working class a voice. 11 years later, Manchester recovers its innovative spirit with the opening of the world's first modern passenger railway. George Stephenson's rocket connects Liverpool to Manchester at 30 miles per hour, shrinking the world and accelerating the industrial data stream. Subscribe to Binary BC to see the world's first trains in motion. In 1842, Friedrich Engels arrives in Manchester. A wealthy young man from Germany, he is horrified by what he finds in the back alleys of the city. He documents the open sewers and the physical decay of the working class. His observations lead to the publication of The Condition of the Working Class in England, and eventually, his collaboration with Karl Marx on the Communist Manifesto. Manchester becomes the intellectual testing ground for the ideologies that would define the 20th century. When the American Civil War breaks out in 1861, the cotton supply is cut off. The Lancashire cotton famine plunges Manchester into starvation. Confederate diplomats offer to restore the cotton flow if Manchester supports the South. In an act of sublime Christian heroism, as Abraham Lincoln later called it, the starving workers of Manchester choose to support the Union and the abolition of slavery instead. This moral stand is commemorated today by a statue of Lincoln in the heart of the city. By the 1870s, Manchester is the sixth largest city in Europe. The new town hall, a Gothic masterpiece, opens in 1877 to declare that Manchester is no longer just a factory town, it is a cultural capital. By 1900, the population exceeds 500,000. The saying goes, what Manchester does today, the world does tomorrow. But as the 20th century dawns, the textile dominance begins to fade. World War I brings horrific casualties to the city's PALS battalions, and international competition from America and India begins to erode the cotton trade. World War II brings the Manchester Blitz. In December 1940, German bombers gut the historic city center, killing hundreds and destroying thousands of buildings. After the war, the decline of the textile industry accelerates. By the 1960s and 70s, the city feels tired and derelict. Massive Victorian warehouses stand empty as communities are displaced by concrete tower blocks. Yet in this decay, a new energy emerges: music. From Joy Division and the Smiths to the Stone Roses and Oasis, Manchester's creative output becomes its new global export. Football also defines the city's recovery. Manchester United and Manchester City grow into global icons, their rivalry fueling the city's identity. In the 1990s, the city begins a massive system reboot. Abandoned warehouses are converted into luxury lofts and tech startups. The 2002 Commonwealth Games trigger a massive regeneration of East Manchester. The BBC moves its operations to Media City, UK, and the city becomes a financial and digital hub. Today, Manchester is home to over 3 million people in its greater urban area. It has successfully reinvented its code from cotton to computers, from steam to software. It remains a city of resilience. When the 2017 arena bombing shocked the world, the city responded with the symbol of the worker bee, a sign of solidarity and strength. Manchester stands today as a testament to the fact that while buildings and industries may be deleted by time, the spirit of a city is eternal. Thank you for traveling through 2 millennia of history with Binary BC. If you want to see more cities brought back to life through the power of AI, subscribe to Binary BC. Tell us in the comments which city we should reconstruct next. This is Binary BC, where the past is always being rendered. We will see you in the next era.